Hello survivors, and welcome to another video. In today's video we are going to show you the top tier DoT build. Look, DoT builds are very strong, but they're not overlord or endless material, so this is just for fun and to mess around. You could probably get to a high overlord, about overlord 5 or 6, but after there you're probably going to die without the defenses of the shield wall and so on and so forth. So we're running a DoT build. Let's look at what it is. Firstly, we're running Death Knight with unconventional start, skill mastery fire with a bunch of the DoT skills, and then weapon expert. We're then going to run multicast mastery, versatile strength, searing intensity, and elemental flow. I feel like searing intensity is much better than purity, executioner, because we don't really, we need 13 negative effects just to get to the 50% bonus for executioner, so a lot easier to use searing intensity. We're going to be using a lot of burn and melting, so it makes sense. And then elemental flow, it's nice to have a DoT build with elemental flow to deal the damage 50% more often, which means we don't really, Ray of Doom's not going to really benefit from elemental flow, because Doom doesn't benefit from it because it's not a damage over time. It just pops the enemy when you've done a certain amount of damage, or after its time limit is expired it deals burst damage, so it isn't really like damage over time. But anyway, the reason we're using Death Knight is because it is actually a lot easier. Firstly, Ray of Doom on his first weapon, so we use his first weapon, but it is actually a lot easier to just add a fire skill mastery than it would be to use, let's say, the Pyromancer, where we need to use a fire skill mastery if we want Firewalk, as well as Shadow Mastery to get the Ray of Doom. So we would have to use two mastery skill runes, and then we don't have space for, let's say, unconventional start and or weapon expert. So for just ease of access to all of the skills, Death Knight makes it a lot easier. Now we have already completed a Curse 7 run on something like this, just so you can see over here where we ran it. We actually had the fire skills dealing the most amount of damage. However, I do feel like I didn't want to use Path of Decay and Path of Firewalk. I did actually want Contagion and Combustion, so we'll see if we can get them or what skills we can get. But this was on Curse 7 with an under 7-minute time, and we even ran Executioner, where I'm going to be running Elemental Flow this time to see what it's like. So we're going to do it on a lower curse, just so that we can visually show you the skills, but just bear in mind that it is very flashy, and we will probably, I'm actually going to turn the visuals down just a little bit, because otherwise it's going to be way too much on the screen at the same time. So we'll do it about halfway or just under there. You'll still be able to see everything quite comfortably, which is perfect, and hopefully that's going to help us. Another thing is, with this build, it's much nicer to do it on the Chaos Walker, because your Ascension isn't going to be a problem over here. And then also we run multicast mastery, especially on this build, because the Doom skills, as soon as they multicast, you get a lot more of the actual beams. Now the beams only hit an enemy once per cycle, or per like rotation. So what we like to do is the beams move in an anti-clockwise direction. So what we do is we run in a clockwise direction around the enemies, and therefore we can make it so the beams hit the enemies more often, more frequently, therefore applying more damage over time to the enemies. So that's the plan. You can see it already. You can clear Curse 7 if you do want to run it on Curse 7. It is the same setup, the same runes and everything like that. But we do want the unconventional start on the actual skills, so that we are able to re-roll like this. Unfortunately, we're not getting the skills we want, however, but we do find Path of Decay. A very nice skill. It actually looks very different when you are running it on full graphics. It looks a lot better actually, even though it looks really cool right now. But if you're running full graphics, there are like little puddles that land up on the floor, and you get to see that distinction, which I don't think I've ever noticed before. We did a long time ago do a a path not singular focus, but we did do a path run before on the Chaos Walker, I believe it was, where we had path of DK, path of fire. We had the arcane path one as well, and I think there was a fourth one that we used as well, but I can't actually remember. It would be cool to see like a path of something for each element. So like a dazed would be really strong if that was such a thing. Maybe they can add things like that to the game going forward, but we do need a little bit of movement speed over here. We don't want Leviathan. Lethality, especially when you are doing yourself the Curse 7 run, guys, you do need to focus on movement speed. You can take Death Tornado if you want, but we're looking for other skills. There's Contagion and Firewall. That is beautiful. Grab both of those, and I think we are set for now. Oh no, there's Ray of Fire, so we're actually going to get rid of the Path of Decay, and there is the build that we were looking for. Path of Fire, again, if we see Combustion, we'll replace it, just because of the visual clutter it makes. I mean, you can see just how much visuals are on the screen, but there you go. First boss dead and dusted. Again, remember, we are not using any direct damage sources. Everything over here is damage over time, and this is how they kill bosses all the time. Even when you are on Curse 7, the bosses do die very quickly, especially with Ray of Fire and Firewall. Firewall's visuals, I mean, you don't really get to see them that much. I wonder if it would work with Center of Attention. Yes, it would. It says under a random enemy, so you probably could run Center of Attention with Firewall just to like get it to be where you want it to be. Otherwise it is under a random enemy, but otherwise it is still very strong, very fun to play with as well. We do want to grab AoE as much as possible on these skills. 211 damage. Look, it's free doom. Do we have the crits? We do, so we're gonna grab it. I mean, when I say do we have the crit, I mean we've got enough crit for it to at least proc. So we will grab it. We are doing a damage over time build, so why not take bleed, which is damage over time as well. And another reason why we don't take executioner is we're missing dazed, disoriented, we miss well, we've got rot, but we miss weakness, we miss brittle, we don't have paralysis. So there's a lot of debuffs that we don't have that like the old Misfortune's Embrace would have applied for us, and unfortunately we can't do that. If you do want it, let's say like an executioner build, let me know down in the comment section, and I will look at the best character to use to get the most amount of those negative effects onto a character, you know, so that we can make the most benefit for executioner, because it is very easy damage to get as long as you can apply all of those different negative effects. And then in conjunction with, like, let's say a high overlord or even overlord 1 or 2 on Curse 7, Lord's Bane will give you 125% additional multiplicative damage as well, because you know, as long as all the bosses are alive. So very strong. You know, rune, but it needs to have a specific set of, you know, skills and things like that running for it to feel super strong. Let's go with damage. Crits fine. Health, oh, we should have gone for the movement speed there. And then we're going to grab some cast frequency and another one of the poisonous bloods. So I mean, you can see very comfortable skills. Again, we do just try and move around the enemies in a clockwise direction, especially the bosses. Hopefully they can spawn like right on our face. That doesn't really matter. You can see just how quickly he died over there. And it is just a wonderful build. It will be very interesting to see what does the most amount of damage here, because we do, ooh, we just got ourselves exposed weakness. That is beautiful as well. That means now we're going to deal double the amount of negative effects onto enemies, which means we're now going to be doing so much more damage there. Only a couple minutes left, and this should be done and dusted. Very quick run as well coming from it. Next boss is about to spawn. Should instantly die, because we do have that beautiful exposed weakness now. There we go, done and dusted. One more boss to go, one more run to go, and we will be clear in the woods. We can go to the crit. Another reason why we don't use something like critical mastery, dots do crit. It's only on the first application they crit, so it doesn't really help going for crit mastery, especially when we're using like something like elemental flow and we're trying to get the most out of the actual DoT builds. But another reason for that is you're not always as lucky as what I've been right here to get like the bleed, the exposed weakness, or even something like the amount of crit that we've actually got. Sometimes you only land up with like 50% crit chance, and then, you know, on a single run where we finish it in under 6 minutes, it does become a, oh well, that was kind of a waste of a rune and damage. We could have done so much more with another rune in that place. So 5 minutes 37 seconds, that is an insanely fast run. Let's see what did the most damage. I'm hoping Contagion is up there. Unfortunately not. I think these skills with their actual range deal so much more damage, but I really like Contagion. I really wanted it to be in there. I mean, you can see it deals a whack ton of damage as well, with 4k damage there. Firewall dealing 5k damage over time. These ones don't deal as much damage over time, but they do hit quite hard, so you can see they don't do so much. This is actually 2,400 per 2 stacks, where this is 1,300, so quite a big difference over there. But you can see like they're quite close in stack amount, but this hits more often. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until the next time, cheers.